There's something you need to understand about this world. Nobody is coming to save you. You can cry, you can scream, you can tell people how unfair life is, but at the end of the day, the only person who can change your situation is you. Most people don't care about your problems, and the few who do can't always help you. The ones you think are listening might just be waiting for their turn to speak. Some might even pretend to care while secretly enjoying the fact that you're struggling. That's the reality, and the sooner you accept it, the sooner you take back your power. See, when you tell people your problems, you give them control over your emotions. You let them decide how they see you, weak, incapable, stuck. You let them define your story when you should be the one writing it. Your pain is yours to transform, not theirs to pity. Complaining doesn't change your situation. Talking about the same problem over and over again doesn't solve it. The more you focus on what's wrong, the more you feed it, the more power you give it. But the moment you shift your focus to what you can do, everything changes. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start finding strength in places you never knew existed. And listen, people judge. They always will. The world doesn't owe you understanding. It's harsh, it's cold, and it doesn't wait for anyone. But guess what? That's exactly why you have to build yourself in silence. Work in silence, struggle in silence, fight in silence. And when you rise, let them see the results, not the complaints. Your success will silence every doubt. Your growth will answer every question. Your strength will speak louder than any words ever could. So stop telling people your problems. Start showing them your power. Everyone has their own battles to fight, their own worries, fears, and responsibilities that keep them up at night. When you pour your heart out about your struggles, most people aren't truly listening. They're just waiting for their turn to speak. It's not that they're cruel or heartless, but life has a way of making people self-sympathetic. How often have you sat down and solved a problem or made a mistake? They are dealing with their own pressures, their own silent struggles that you may never see. You might think that sharing your problems will bring comfort, that someone will step in and offer a solution, but in reality, most people will nod, say a few sympathetic words, and then move on, not because they don't care at all, but because they have their own weight to carry. And if you keep telling the same story of struggle, you risk becoming background noise, someone who is always complaining but never changing. There's a limit to how much sympathy the world will give you. At first, people may listen, but over time, they start to lose interest. They start to see your problems as a constant, not something that needs fixing. And the truth is, no one is responsible for fixing your life except you. The world doesn't stop for anyone, and while you're stuck dwelling on your problems, everyone else keeps moving forward. Some people don't just listen to your struggles, they enjoy them. They won't admit it, they won't say it out loud, but deep down, they feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that you're struggling. It makes them feel better about their own lives. It reassures them that they're not the only ones facing difficulties, or worse, it gives them a twisted sense of superiority. They smile to your face, nod with concern, maybe even say the right things, but the moment you walk away, they use your struggles as entertainment. They share your problems like gossip, twisting your pain into a story for others to discuss. And if they see you as competition, your struggles become their victory. The more you suffer, the better they feel. The moment you start revealing too much, you give them something to use against you. And they remember your weaknesses, your doubts, your failures. And if the time comes, they will remind you of them subtly or directly, just to keep you in that place of self-doubt. Not everyone claps when you win. And some are waiting for the day you fall, just so they can say, I knew it. Talking about your problems over and over won't change them. It might feel good in the moment, like a release, but in reality, it traps you in the same cycle. Every time you repeat your struggles, you reinforce them in your mind. You make them bigger, heavier, more real than they need to be. Complaining is easy. Anyone can sit around and talk about how unfair life is, how hard things have been, how nothing ever goes their way. But that doesn't move you forward. That doesn't bring solutions. In fact, the more you focus on the problem, the more powerless you feel. You become stuck, waiting for someone to understand, to save you, to make things better. But nobody is coming. The only thing that changes problems is action. You don't need sympathy, you need strategy. You don't need to talk about what's wrong. You need to start figuring out how to make it right. Every second you spend complaining is a second you could have spent improving. And while you're stuck in the same story, someone else with the same struggle is out there finding a way to overcome it. Your energy is one of the most valuable things you have, and where you direct it determines the course of your life. When you constantly talk about your problems, you're pouring your energy into what's wrong instead of what can be made right. You're fueling negativity, keeping yourself emotionally drained, and reinforcing the very struggles you wish to escape. Energy flows where attention goes. The more you dwell on pain, setbacks, and disappointments, the more power they have over you. The more you tell your story of struggle, the more it becomes your identity. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who can overcome, you start believing you are someone who is stuck. But what if you redirected that energy? What if, instead of talking about what's missing, you started focusing on what you could do next? What if, instead of seeking validation for your struggles, you channeled your energy into actions that create change? Problems don't disappear just because you talk about them. They fade when you outgrow them, when you take control, when you shift your focus from what hurts to what heals. People listen, but they don't always listen to help. Many are quick to judge, forming opinions about you based on what you share. The moment you open up about your struggles, some will see you as weak. Some will assume you're incapable, that you're always going to be stuck in the same problem. They won't tell you this directly, but their perception of you changes. Not everyone is equipped to understand what you're going through, and even fewer are willing to genuinely help. Some will offer empty words, not because they care, but because it's the polite thing to do. Others will dismiss your struggles entirely, making you feel like you're overreacting. And then there are those who use what you've shared against you, bringing it up at the worst times, making sure you never forget your lowest moments. Every time you tell people your problems, you're giving them a window into your vulnerabilities. And the truth is, not everyone deserves access to that part of you. You don't need the world's understanding. You don't need their approval. What you need is to focus on finding solutions instead of looking for people to validate your pain. Success makes a statement that words never can. You can spend hours explaining your struggles, trying to make people understand what you've been through. But in the end, the only thing that truly matters is what you do about it. People may ignore your pain, but they can't ignore your progress. The world doesn't remember those who complain. It remembers those who overcome. When you focus on results instead of excuses, when you let your actions speak instead of your problems, people start paying attention in a different way. The ones who once doubted you, ignored you, or even looked down on you will have no choice but to acknowledge what you've built. Struggles don't define you. Your response to them does. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to justify your journey. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them be shocked when you rise. Let your success be the loudest thing they hear from you. Not everyone is qualified to give you advice. When you share your problems, you open the door to opinions, but not all opinions are worth listening to. Some people will give advice based on their own fears, their own limitations, and their own failures. They will tell you what they would do, not what you should do. And if you're not careful, you'll start making decisions based on their doubts instead of your own potential. People love to talk, love to sound wise, love to feel like they have all the answers. But the truth is, many don't even have their own lives figured out. They'll tell you to play it safe when you need to take a risk. They'll tell you to settle when you're meant to rise. They'll give you advice from a place of comfort, not courage. And if you listen to the wrong voices, you'll find yourself stuck in a life that was never meant for you. The best guidance comes from experience, from action, from learning as you go. Trust yourself first. Observe those who have done what you want to do. Seek wisdom, not just opinions. Because at the end of the day, you are the only one who has to live with the decisions you make. Real strength isn't built in moments of comfort. It's built in silence and struggle in the times when no one is watching. When you stop telling people your problems and start facing them on your own, something shifts. You become stronger, more resilient, more capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Silence isn't weakness, it's power. When you keep your battles to yourself, you stop relying on external validation and start building internal confidence. You realize that you don't need permission to heal, to grow, to change. Every time you push through a struggle without announcing it, you prove to yourself that you are enough. That you don't need sympathy, you need solutions. That you don't need an audience, you need action. Strength is forged in the moments no one sees. The late nights, the sacrifices, the self-discipline, the determination to keep going when no one is clapping. And when you rise, when you overcome, people won't ask about your problems. They'll ask how you did it. And that's when they'll finally understand the power of silence. Life will test you. It will challenge you in ways you never expected. And in those moments, you'll have a choice. Seek sympathy or seek strength. The world doesn't owe you understanding. And waiting for people to care will only keep you stuck. Instead of telling people your problems, channel that energy into becoming the kind of person who overcomes them. Let your growth be your response. Let your success be your proof. Let your silence be your power. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who listened to your struggles. It's about who saw you rise despite them.